Hello and welcome to another episode of the Talking Parra podcast, both on Apple and Spotify and also on the Entertain House YouTube channel. Tonight we have Hayden from the Entertain House. We have Maddie from M. Tatey Sports TV. You have myself, Troy, from the Parra Cave podcast. And we also have someone who we said we were going to shop around for a new host, but we said you could stay and drop in every week or two. No, just joking. Adam Martin, how are we going, Adam? Over to you.
You could have said Parramatta's most wanted man at the moment because I think I pranked a few people this afternoon. There's a few people not happy at me, and I've pulled that one off before. But there's nothing I like more than...
I didn't even see you post it. Was that you?
So a classic of mine is to find an old post. And obviously we know Parramatta are looking for that X factor. So I found an old post of a Rad Raja signing for 4 years. And boom, posted it. No. Mate, everyone goes, you should have done it on the first round. I said, it would have been too obvious. I got so many people, and some bloke just gets on there and comments, it was some dickhead having a joke. I said, hi, guys, I'm the dickhead.
You should have done it on Friday, Adam. April Fool's Day.
Yeah, but it would have been too obvious. I did it last year.
True, yeah.
I'm pretty sure I used that exact same Rad Raja post last year on April 4th.
Probably come up with your memories.
It will. It worked. It was perfect. Anyway, look, before we get to the game, let's get to the big news. As we know, Parramatta are obviously looking for that X factor. And I'm gone. I'm gone already. This is going.
Okay, so the news came out during the week that there was a supposed leak from the report came out from the Sydney Morning Herald, I think it was, and that they were shopping Gutho around to get a new fullback, to get that X factor player, and Brad Arthur and Gutho have come out today and said, look, it wasn't that at all. Gutho just said, look, we need to find someone for the team, that X factor player, and if need be, I would be happy to move positions if it was for the better of the team. And it was Gutho who went to Brad and said that. So how it all got exposed as that Parramatta was shopping Clint Gutherson around, I got no idea how that was, but we all know that Parramatta gets clicks, sells papers, gets likes on social media and the like. So that's where we're at. And it was all for the better of the team. There's been a few names mentioned today. Jaden Campbell from the Titans and also Dane Laurie from the Tigers. But you probably wouldn't get them because they're probably just fullbacks, not centres, wingers, or fullbacks. So
they're also not the X factor player we're looking for either. Like me personally, I said it last week. I believe I spoke about Gutho. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, and I love everything Gutho does for the team. I love the effort he puts in. The effort's always there, but sorry, I had to throw that one in, guys. I couldn't help myself, but. To me, it's not always enough, and it makes sense for him to come say it himself. Look, obviously the media, they like to blow things out of proportion, but the simple fact is, you look at Melbourne, obviously when he's fit, but they got Pappenhausen. You look at Latrell as their X factor player there. You look at the Roosters with Teddy, they got their X factor player there. So you look at us, and for me, Gutho, although he's great, it's right. There's nothing bad about this. Gutho could be an awesome centre. He could continue to be an awesome fullback.
He was.
Well, he's played everywhere when you look about his NRL career, really. I remember him playing on the wing for us when he first came in. It was only really that 2016 season where Normie got hurt and we obviously lost forward and stuff as well, that we had no option to put Gutho into the half. It was playing 7, and it really evolved him as a player. It took him, I know he's always younger as a fullback and stuff like that, but it evolved him as a player and really evolved him as a leader in our club as well, going through those tough times. But it makes perfect sense to me, but I think the player coming in has to be better to move him. Because if not, we may as well just shop around and buy a centre. Because You can't have someone $950,000 and then let's bring in a fullback. If we're going to do that and we're going to bring in someone like a Jaden Campbell, who to me just reminds me a lot of Bevan French in the way that he'll get picked up and carried back, won't make those meters, won't do the tough runs out of trouble that Gutho does. Or you're going to go Dane Laurie, who I think is a fringe first grader anyway, pretty average player, to be honest. He's got to be that X factor. He's got to be that stepping ability and all that kind of stuff. But to me, he isn't quite what we need. I want to be a big name player.
Joe Manu.
I've thrown around, I know in our group chat, Roger Tuivasa share. I'd love to see that. And it'd be a player I'd be happy to see Gutho move. But if you bring someone in who isn't quite as good as him, we're really achieving nothing out of doing it. We're just moving a player for no reason. But one thing before I go on Hayden's thoughts is I saw enough from the fullback. Arthur, what's his name? Arthur Mills-Stevens, whatever. In reserve grade, New South Wales Cup. Now they reckon he changed the game the week before. That's the first Cup game I've been able to catch there on Thursday night before the game. And I'll say he's been the most promising fullback I've seen come through our club since Hayne. The way he moved on the ball, how quick he was, his running style was very similar. He created something out of nothing off kicks. He had the speed. So actually, I'll take that back. Bevan French, when he came through, was quite exciting to watch at that level as well. But I don't get why, we go off and sign someone young, inexperienced like a Campbell when we've got a young kid like that who's probably only 6-7 weeks away from probably having a crack anyway, if he keeps the form he's up. So that's my thoughts. I'll go to you, Hayden, on your thoughts.
Yeah, I think for me, as you mentioned, it would probably have to be that kind of bigger name. Some of the names being thrown around have been a bit questionable. So for me, I'd probably say we spoke about it last night off chat. Zach Lomax, one, provides that goal-kicking factor. Mitch is obviously a fantastic goal kicker, but does have those moments. So, look, if there's a kick to, win a game, it could be Zach coming in there. And I think he is considered that X factor due to him having about 2 call-ups potentially to be playing Origin. Didn't happen, but he was definitely getting time in the Blues camp, things like that. And then the other one, it's gone blank off me. I said it before, Joey Manu from the Sydney Roosters. You've seen how good he can be in try assists, come on, change the game. And I think with Joe Manu, it would probably be a higher price, obviously, with that one over Zach Lomax. But that we've been calling for a centre for years, and it's looking more and more that Wonga Blake may not be at the club next year, shopped around. So that moves into that centre role. But as you said, if Gutho wants to play at centre or feels that it's best for the team to play at centre, that could put either Lomax or Joe Manu, in my opinion, at fullback if we need to.
See, I think the good thing about if Zach Lomax did come to the club, he wouldn't have that pressure of goal kicking on his mind, so he could just concentrate on his football because you've got Mitch there, obviously, as a goal kicker. You've got Gutho there as a goal kicker. So that would be one benefit, I think, of getting Zach Lomax, take the pressure off his goal kicking and concentrate on football.
Well, the thing is, if we looked at someone like Manu, it would, really help the Roosters with their salary cap pressure. Never mind. Matt, your thoughts?
Yeah. Gutho was gun when he went to centre, and that's what got him that fullback position. But I feel like Gutho went... To me, it was weird how the club leaked it. I feel like they leaked it to try and get all the player managers getting together, going, offering players to us. But I feel like Gutho went there and talked to BA about Stephen Miller. I feel like that's what Gutho meant, kind of like bring him up as an X factor rather than buy someone. But yeah, I feel like Gutho wouldn't move to the centre just for anybody. It has to be a gun player. But I still reckon we just bring in... Obviously, Lomax is unhappy. We've seen it all over Twitter, Dragons fans, and that he's calling for a release and Dragons won't release him, or there's all this stuff going on socials at the moment. So, and that's why he's playing the way he is. But I feel like you slip him into Eels gear and put him under BA and have Mitch and all that with him, I feel like he'll become like ridiculous because we've seen how Will is. And I feel like Will on one side, him on the other.
Yeah, it'd be pretty lethal.
Yeah.
Well, we've always said we need a centre, but I'll throw a crazy idea at you. It's not my idea. I saw it posted, but it's not a bad one.
Not Moses Empire, like Troy said.
April Fools. Early April Fools by Troy.
I know you're usually drinking the vanilla Coke or the Pepsi Max. What are you drinking now that night to throw that one out, Troy? But, look, I think the crazy idea is we know the Roosters, right? We know they like to spend money. And we know that they've lost Suali. So he's going no matter what he's on for rugby.
Is he?
A year and a half. Yeah. I don't know if you knew
that. I haven't heard.
Broken by Brendan Smith, one of the greatest interviews of all time.
Yeah.
But to me, I know he's really good mates with Will. So our club, we're openly saying we're looking for a player. Now, we know the Roosters, look, they've probably got some good young junior coming through they're going to ignore and is going to end up somewhere else. But we know they're going to spend big money on another centre to replace him, right? So why aren't we going to him in their ear going, look, if you don't want him for a year and a half, you think it's a waste of time, let's help you out. We'll take him. We need a centre. We need to play with X Factor, and obviously he's got that. So let's get him across to us.
Have Wonga Blake for you boys, the Roosters. Have him.
Have Wonga Blake and watch him probably carve us up. But, there is options there, and that's what I mean. Like, we've just given them Nathan Brown, right? And this is the stupidest thing about our club. We never asked for anything in return. Now, it didn't just come from Gutho. I know it said that, but it didn't come from Gutho just watching one game where we won, Matt, ad, and going, we need another player. We need to play with the X Factor, blah, 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 blah. It's obviously been going on a while, right? It's been in the back of the mind. It's been in there, leaders' talks with the coach and stuff. So why, when we released a player, did we not think to ourselves, let's try and get someone back from them? They've got a problem. They've got Joseph Manu who wants to play fullback, right? Teddy's playing fullback. They've got Suali who wants to play fullback. We all know, if he was given the fullback option, he probably wouldn't have gone to rugby.
Yeah.
To me, our club is just a little bit frustrating there. And us as fans think it. Why isn't there someone in the office who's thinking, all right, this is what we should try and do? But
we don't know that. We don't know that's not what that. We don't know that's not happening.
We don't, but I severely doubt it is. Just given history.
But the other name that was mentioned today too was Jack Whiten as well. He's obviously trying to raise his price up because he's not going to take up his player option at Canberra in 2024. He's going to put himself on the open market, but I think he would just be too expensive to put in the centre because he's already on 900-something thousand at Canberra.
Like 2-3 years ago at Canberra, whenever they went on that run of the grand final, he probably was that kind of X factor player. If we're going to bring him to put him into the centres, I've seen what he does at origin level in the centres, and his defence ain't real good. I know he's had a couple of good games there and stuff. He was originally a fullback. He went to 5'8". I guess it does give you some kind of depth coverage in the half, but to me, it shouldn't be where we're looking for. The other name I've seen thrown around is it Jack Wellesby? What's his last name?
Yeah, Jack Wellesby, St Helens fullback.
Yeah.
It's been thrown around a couple of times. My biggest concern with I know he's obviously won 4 comps in a row. He's a good young player. He's only 23. It's the best fullback in the game over there at the moment. But someone raised this point in one of my groups earlier, and he said, look, let's try and sign him. I said, Zach Hardacre come across from Leeds is the best fullback in the game. Sam Tonkin's the best fullback in the game. They both never made it over here. Outside backs really struggle to come across and make it in the NRL. And I'll say anything. Any player in the back line who really has struggled. If you can name me one that has had an impact on the game, and I want to do that, it's come across from England. One English player that's a back that has had an impact on the game.
One back, English back.
1 to 7, yep.
Jonathan Davies, Martin Afire, Gary Connolly.
Like NRL era?
NRL. There you go.
Well, you go.
No, I was just going to say.
I'm saying in the modern game, there's that many that have come across, and you can name a heap of them. Like I'm saying the fullbacks there, but they don't seem to make it. Like Callum Watkins come across too from Leeds, played the centres for the Titans and stuff, just couldn't handle it. He was the best centre in English Super League for years.
Ryan Hall over at the Roosters.
Ryan Hall.
Tries had
Look,
been.
Ryan Hall probably come over 5 years too late. But same thing, Ryan Hall, and he come off the back of an ACL injury as well. He was a weapon over the years, come over, couldn't make it. George Williams. I don't think George Williams was that good over here compared to what he does over there. He wasn't in the top 8 halfbacks over here. He had a really good kicking game, but that was about it. Now, if I said to you, name a forward or a hooker that's come across in the last 15 years from the Super League and made a massive impact, you could all name me one straight away, or at least 3 straight away, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Do you think with the Super League,
Burgess?
do you think with the Super League decision of Wellesby though, and I know it's not obviously a full preseason, but you had that preseason challenge just where you could see what he's doing. Obviously, you've had players transition from the Super League to NRL from the season that they're having, but I just think what we saw during that preseason challenge kind of means that maybe he could be better and maybe he could be ready.
I mean, it wouldn't be such a bad thing either, because he's won everything over in England. He's just done everything over in England. So
you could have.
He's got to challenge himself and come to the best rugby league nation in the world.
Brodie Croft won Player of the Year over there. So you know what I mean?
But that's the opposite part. I mean, he won Player of the Year. He didn't win 4 comps in a row.
Yeah. I don't know.
And he was Player of the Match in the
I feel like
challenge.
It's easy for us to buy someone. I reckon we just give someone a shot from.
Yeah, well, if you were watching 7 News tonight, Brad was talking about it, and he basically said that Parramatta has some cash. Parramatta has some cash right now, and they're in a position where there's 3 spots left in that top 30, and that is the reason why they want to do this X-Factor decision. And just a few weeks ago, obviously, Gutho had the HIA incident, so they're preparing for if this type of thing is to happen again. And for once, they're actually explaining that they've had money, because they seem to not have had money in recent years for an X-Factor type player.
And the funny thing that also came out of that press conference was the fact that Brad said that Gutho was playing with a broken hand for most of the end of last year, and that's why they had Jake on the bench and
Mitch
just in case. Fullback. Yeah,
we've seen Mitch slide in the fullback a couple times, so he does all right. Who was it today? Someone said maybe put Dylan.
Nothing, guys.
What?
I think our illustrious host is having some technical difficulties at the moment, so he'll just chime in. He'll chime in from fullback whenever he can.
Hey guys,
let's move on to last week's game. Sure.
Okay, let's go.
You've been robots to me for the last 2.5 minutes.
I've
been looking at him smiling too. I've been watching him go.
I have listened to that whole conversation. Now, Hayden sounded like a robot, right? Troy and Matt sounded like they just done like a bong each, because it is that trained out in their voices. And I'm just sitting here just giggling away because I really wanted to enjoy that conversation, but I really couldn't enjoy it at all.
So for the viewers that are going to watch this on Entertain House channel, it looks like Adam's on a current affair or something, because his face is quite blurred out at the moment. So.
Well, this is what happened to me while I was actually interviewing Jamie Sowd for a podcast. I had myself and BKR Sport, just like you boys are, and I had Jamie podcast frozen for the whole podcast in a position like that with his hands up. So I'm having some deja vu tonight.
But I think we've got Adam back on audio now. So good call, Hayden. Let's talk about the grand final rematch.
Before you do, I just want to say, did you actually hear what I said about the forwards that made it? The
Burgess.
Exactly right. Hodgson, obviously Bateman, Ellis. The thing to me is it's so hard for fullback to come across. So I don't think that's where we look. I think my final point of this is I think we need to look in our own backyard, and we need to go back to being that club that tries to find that X factor through one of our junior systems, because that's what club we used to be, and we're not that club anymore. That's what frustrates me. Like, you know, what we bought through Will Penasini, who we bought through before that, Dylan Brown.
Yeah.
Like, when's the last exciting product or prospect come to our club that can give us that X factor? Like, you know, and the final point I'll make is Gutherson moving seems to be a little procession. What's the word I'm after? Progression thing that happens over the years at Parramatta. I said you saw Luke Burt move to the wing for Hayne to come through. You've seen it happen in other times. Players obviously make those moves. Even Hayne was going to played in the centres. That was obviously when he come back, but Bevan was meant to play fullback, and obviously Gutho took it. So, you know, it seems to be a natural thing that happens at club. So I'm not that put out by it. It's good to see that our players kind of realise when it could be their time to step aside. If we got an 18 or 19-year-old kid coming through that could make it, maybe Gutho at 27, 28, his time to step in the centres. So,
well, we're going to have to do something soon because I think, we've got 4 spots?
Three.
Four,
but we need to upgrade hands.
Yeah, exactly right. That's
we need to upgrade hands. Sure. Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on, Hayden. You want to take it away?
Okay.
You're doing a good job while I was frozen.
All right, sure.
Well,
let's get to
for the viewers at home, you're still frozen, by the way. But we can still hear you. So
but we can hear you. So
we can hear you. So we'll get your in-depth thoughts about the grand final rematch round 4 against the Panthers last Thursday night.
We'll go Hayden first, and I'll try and do a refresh while we do it. All right, go.
Yeah, it was a fantastic victory out there at CommBank Stadium on Thursday night. Got the job done, 17 points to 16. Look, the completion rate is the highlight for us fans. Only 2 errors made the whole night. Something that Parramatta have lacked, especially to start the season, is poor execution of the footy. We still haven't been playing bad football, but there has been some errors early on in the season.
Back.
So to have that 95% completion rate is just fantastic. And as I said in my channel, I think people will disagree with me, but I think most people, for the most part, can agree that there was never a time where Penrith were, going to win this. There was never a time where Parramatta put the foot off the pedal and started to let the game slip away. We started well and we ended well. I know, obviously, the last the golden point sin bin of Junior Paulo was a big momentum changer. But you look at all the stats, and all the stats go in Parramatta's favour. They ran about 130 more run meters. The only stat that went against us was tackle breaks. There was 30 to Penrith compared to our 12. But as well as the missed tackles of 32, a little bit high. But a great debut from Brandon Hands, and one of the best Parramatta victories probably the best Parramatta victory since your Townsville victory, but one of the best Parramatta victories in a while.
Well, clearly, because we haven't won a game since Townsville. Matty, what are your thoughts on the grand final rematch? Oh, he's got the party poppers.
Got the party poppers.
Celebrate.
We finally get a win for the season off to party poppers.
Watch the replay on Entertain House.
Yeah. So, same. We were just dominant. Like, that's the first game I've seen us stick to a game plan and it just worked. Like, Mitch kicked down the side, made, took the ball out of To'o's hands and Crichton's side, 1,000 kicking meters, most in an NRL game. We just executed the game plan finally. But I think it was the most and I know a few of the guys around me were saying, it was the most one-sided refereeing display I've ever seen in the NRL. And that's what kept Penrith in the game. It just, it was just a great win.
Around the rock a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
They scored a try from a forward pass, So
the thing is,
it was good to get the win, and
that's where you need to. That's where we've proven that we're obviously a decent team, because look, we can sit here all day and say, look, things haven't gone our way in the first couple of weeks, first 3 weeks, whatever. But you got to be above that if you want to be a good football team, and we're above it on Thursday night. I'll quickly run through some of my obviously moments of the game, but I want to give a shout out first of all to Campbell Gillard and Paulo, because You look at nearly 500 meters. Am I actually moving now? Is my mouth moving?
Yeah, no, you're back to normal now.
Yeah.
All good.
Yeah.
Normal. Wonderful. All right. Well, 500 meters nearly between them, 299 meters combined. Campbell Gillard with 24 runs, 255 meters, and Paulo with 20 runs, 244 meters. But it doesn't stop there. Our forward pack, as you said, was dominant. And that's how we beat them in Penrith last year. We went out there and played that simple through the middle and then obviously used the ball when we needed to. And we didn't need to use that much, which we didn't obviously on Thursday night as well. But Madison, nice return, 146 meters. And Matt, you ready?
Tackles.
You got any more party poppers? Because, sorry?
58 tackles. Don't forget that part.
Here we go.
I haven't got to the tackles yet. We're getting to the tackle performers. Yeah. Just wait. Just wait. We're going to go through this first.
You haven't heard
Bryce
yet.
Cartwright. 18 runs, 167 meters. Let him go, Matty.
Celebrate good times.
And that was Matty when he watched Bryce Cartwright score the first try. That's exactly what happened. But and then obviously you can add Hopgood to that with 165. So you look at those meters our forward pack ran. The lowest, starting forward ran 146 meters. Look through the tackles. As you said, Madison, 58 tackles, which is a huge effort. Adding Hopgood's 53 tackles to that. And then if you combine Hands and Hodson of 27 and 26 for the 80 minutes, that's 53 tackles made in the middle. That's an incredible effort by all of them there. So, and then I was pretty happy to see our outside backs perform as well with those run meters. Like Sivo 149, Simonson 111, which is one of his best for a while. Penaseni, I thought, was superb again with 135. And then Wonga, Wonga, what have you done, Wonga? 108. So, and he didn't do too much wrong. Like, he wasn't terrible. So he's kept his spot. But I was calling for Cartwright to lose his spot last week. And I thought he had an outstanding job, to be honest. He did well. So you're never going to hear me say that again. Your thoughts? So, who was your X Factor player?
Didn't really have an X Factor player because I think the whole team were the X Factor, I think, because they all combined well. They connected well. And look, as you said, Ryan Madison coming back, he was solid in defence in the middle there. Hopgood there, 53 tackles, even with 15 minutes off the field with his HIA. You got worried when it did go to Golden Point because a couple of years ago you probably thought that, Parramatta's going to lose this game, but they held their nerve, and even with Junior off Sinbin, they held their nerve and they knew what they needed to do. But I guess probably with Mitch's 1,000 metres kicking game, NRL record, I guess it just shows you the blueprint to beat Penrith in a game of rugby league because as Matty said, you kick it down to Taruva, keep it away from Toto. I mean, Toto only had like 20.
We talked about that last week, didn't we, in the show?
Yeah.
What you said.
Obviously, the coaches are listening to the Talking Parra podcast, but Toto had like 25 meters, 25 meter kick returns. I mean, that's unheard of. Whereas Taruva had 170. So we all bag Mitch for kicking the ball down.
He still ran for 240 metres to high. We'll just add that as well.
Yeah, he did, but he had to do that the hard way. He did not just off a kick return. But, I mean, we all bag Mitch for his kicking game because he always kicks down to the winger on the full and stuff like that. But when you look at it like we are now, there's obviously that game plan to kick it continuously down the same side all the time. I thought Will Penasini, as you mentioned, Adam, was outstanding again. I think just his defense has really stepped up, and I think also too his runs from kick returns as well, like one off the ruck or the second run off, that was pretty good. Gutho's try saver on James Fisher-Harris. I mean, who else would have stopped that? I mean, lucky we didn't have Mitchell back at fullback because that would have been might have been a steamroller. I'm not saying Mitchell couldn't have done it because we've seen him do it before on, was it Kenny Bromwich? But that was a great thing there. And as you said, Hayden, the 95% completion rate. It's probably the second highest ever in NRL history. You got to complete the ball, and I think only one of those errors was from Wonga Blake. I think playing the ball.
The only other thing before Adam speaks about his thoughts that I want to mention,
He's already mentioned his thoughts.
He has mentioned his thoughts. The only thing I want to add on my thoughts, how good was the applying of kick pressure? Something that Parramatta's struggled with in recent years is not applying that kick pressure. And I know Hodgson didn't go great and Hands came on because he got tired, but I thought Hodjo's kick pressure was really good in that first half. And for a kicker in the game like Nathan Cleary, we saw him with that 2-point field goal. You know how good he is, but I thought the kick pressure limited his ability for his kicking game for the majority of the night. So I want to see more of that this year because that's one thing that I've been calling for years and I'm finally seeing it, which is fantastic.
And just talking about pressure, I mean, Brendan Hands' debut game has to get that ball, that pass spot on to Mitchell Moses to kick the field goal. I mean, that's pressure, isn't it? But he handled it perfectly.
I feel like we're about to burst into a John Farnham song, but you're right, Hayden. I want to say that as well. Under pressure. Anyway, so I'm going distracted, but Hodgson's, I made that comment at the game. Hodgson's kick pressure, but it was disappointing as soon as he went off. No one kind of stood up to do that. And, he kind of made clear his bitch or not with a bit of late contact after as well. I want to talk about Brendan Hands quickly and the try he scored. Then I'll go into who my X-Factor player was. But I want to give him a shout-out because he didn't just score that try. He created that try. And I'm glad that I think it was Ennis maybe that mentioned it when I watched the game back. I said it live at the game. The way he showed left and then he went right. He actually kind of stepped right, showed left, then went right. He just confused the absolute fuck out of both the markers. So what he did there, he jumped right, brought in a defender. Well, it was brilliant because it brought in all those defenders. It brought A, B, C defender in. All of a sudden we had the overlap. By us having the overlap and the man not quite committing, it gave, he didn't go obviously massively through the through that gap, but obviously he gave the ball to Penasini. He was allowed to give it back. And, it was just brilliant. That try was all Hands' try. So to see a kid do that in that was awesome. And it goes so much more than actually him to score a try. But my X-Factor player, not to take anything away from Mitch and his kicking and his obviously field goal, was Gutho. Once again, just those little effort areas of, first of all, how good it was to see a front rower grubber and regather for himself. There's nothing better than watching a big man actually do that. So that was awesome. But to watch Gutho, he's all frozen again. I'm frozen, aren't I?
No,
just keep talking.
Let it go.
Just keep talking.
Let it go. Anyway. Okay, keep talking. So
just keep talking.
Gutho, to make that effort, it shows. I am talking. It shows all these effort areas there. So I thought he was an X-Factor player, and he stood up for us.
So the effort was there then?
I better be frozen in a good position. The effort was
frozen.
there. That was an X-Factor player. That's all I'll say.
Okay, so the effort was there then.
Oh, I'm not. Okay, I thought I was frozen.
No.
I haven't seen this week's press conference. Was that said?
No? I didn't watch it.
But it was the captain's run today, wasn't it, Matty?
Yeah.
Yeah. Day off tomorrow.
Day off tomorrow. Then Thursday the game.
All right, let's go.
Perhaps on their day off
from last week's game.
So perhaps on their day off they might listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
I think there's some delays going on, Adam.
Yeah, it must be that Newcastle area up there.
I think one thing I want to add for the game
We've got Storm up here.
The problem I'm finding at the moment with the Eels is we don't follow up. There was at least 3 or 4 plays where, especially RCG, there was one where he done a hit up about 15 meters out in the first half from their line and had both arms free with Dylan Edwards on him, and there was no one dreaming through because they were all setting up for the next play. We don't have those players that follow through anymore. Like, it's like as soon as we do an offload and they go to get tackled, we're all worried about setting up for the next play. But we don't see that Hayne or that Luke Burt player. Like, Guffo should be screaming through those gaps like Teddy does, but he's too busy. They're all focused on what's going to happen next, and the play hasn't like died yet. So I feel like that could be something we could work on, having players follow through.
It's like a bit of touch football mentality in that regard, isn't it? Like, you know, they're trying to set up those quick play the balls for the next play.
Yeah.
Sorry, stop laughing. I don't know what I am. My face could be paused in any position at any time.
No. You're not even frozen.
I just want to move on with this game because I'm getting really frustrated with
it. Yeah.
Okay, so
why
this
does
week
keep
we
looking
have...
at me like that?
We get to say our players of the match, or we're not doing that this week then?
Can we just do that?
Oh, why don't we go through the bold predictions?
I see my X Factor player. Who's your X Factor player?
I'm going to give it to Mitchell Moses. I thought if Sivo scored a hat trick, then it probably
I can't deal with this.
What, the delay?
Anyway, so Mitchell Moses for Hayden. I'm gonna go. I'll go Will Penasini.
Yeah, I think Will
Matty?
as well. Yeah, I got Will as well.
All right. So, just to recap, because there's pauses and things happening everywhere, Hayden's X Factor player was Mitchell Moses. Troy's X Factor player was Will Penasini. Matt's X Factor player was Mercenary. And my X Factor player was Gutho. Everyone happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the bold predictions last week, Matty. How'd we go?
Let's just say
close.
Just say it, Troy. Just say it. Me and you got ours right. Just say it.
Yeah. Okay. So, how's that leaderboard going?
Good work. You're on 3, and me and Hayden are on 1 each.
Okay, so moving right along to Parramatta versus the Roosters, round 5 at Allianz Stadium on Thursday night. I think, okay. So who wants to start off? I'm waiting for Adam to jump in, but who wants to start off?
He can jump in. There's nothing wrong with him.
I can't jump in because I can't hear.
Okay.
There actually is, like, on my end, Troy sounds like a robot still, and I only hear every second word. It's actually...
All right, jump out,
like
reset.
Grand final night last year, to be honest. But...
Do you want me to take over?
Do you want to reset again?
Go.
Okay. So, round 5, Roosters versus Parramatta at Allianz Stadium, Thursday night, 8 p.m. kickoff. What are your thoughts, Hayden? What are you looking forward to in seeing in this game?
Yeah, so Troy, first off, we'll get to our team lineup for the match on Thursday night. Obviously, Junior Paulo is. It actually says I can't add Adam back. No, okay.
He's back.
He's he's not. Okay, he is. Give it a second. I'll just move myself and everyone into correct position. So Junior Paulo out for this match, suspended due to that
2 weeks
in Golden Point. 2 weeks back for the Bulldogs game, I believe. It'll be a very exciting clash, that one. We can't wait to get into that one. But Woodamoo Greig has been named in jersey number 10 in replacement of Junior Paulo. As Adam mentioned, Bryce Cartwright, coming off a nice game last week, is in the back row once again. And the bench is Dury, who I thought, once again, Dury coming off the bench has been absolutely fantastic. I think he's starting to lock down that 14 spot. He could be that X factor that we are currently looking for. You were going to say that. Brendan Hands is back from his day. He's in debut number 2, just like Kai Rodwell in jersey number 15. Jack Murchie returns to the side after last week's game. And Makahesi Makatoa in jersey number 17. I just want to say that looking at our bench and comparing our bench to the Sydney Roosters, if it was a battle of the benches, I think we'd win the game 8-0. The Roosters bench looks absolutely awful. Jake Turpin, Nafua White, Corey Allen, and Fletcher Baker. We've got a bit of skill, a bit of experience, a bit of size about our bench. So yeah, some promising sides to look into. Matty, I'll go to you for your thoughts for the game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting having Greg start. I thought Makatoa would start for junior, or Murchie even. But yeah, hopefully you get some.
Greg's a cat.
Here we go again. I told him to get angry today.
So that's Wirama, Greg.
And said get angry.
Nelson, and
I told him he
Solomona.
has to get angry. Especially if he's going to start. No, I think it's a good move. I think that's the move we should have. I feel like we've been calling for Junior or Reg to start off the bench. And we saw when they both went off last week is when Panthers scored their try. So
we see it every week.
Yeah, we see it every week. So, I feel like we need to just limit. I think the dangers, obviously, everyone at Roosters, the sombrero is kicking in. But, yeah, I feel like we need to limit Sawali's running meters. I feel like he'll have a point to prove this game because, obviously, everyone telling him to go now and all the stuff they're saying in the media to just not let him play New South Wales and stuff. So I think he's going to come out firing. I feel like we just need to stick to the game plan we did last week, to be honest. And, we need to just play from in front because that's just our game plan. We need, like, if we fall too far behind like the Manly game, I don't see us pitting it back like last year. But, yeah, it's just stick to the game plan we did last week for the rest of the year and hopefully that.
Adam, I'll go to you.
Yeah, to me, the Swaley point's an interesting one. I think the Roosters should just get him used to rugby union and touching the ball 2 or 3 times a day and just not giving him the ball. But they kind of have no option but to give him lots of ball because I look at the Roosters team as Hayden just ran through and I think their Hutchinson and Paulo combination is very weak. I think that's where we can win the game. We can attack them there. Hutchinson's not a very strong defensive centre. And, he doesn't like knees in the back either. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But interesting you mentioned their bench, Hayden. I'm looking through their bench. It is a weak bench. I think we'll see some changes there. I see El Zarkam's named on the bench for them. Wouldn't be surprised if they give him a run against his former club. Former club he never played for. But also, I'm pretty excited by this because I've been waiting for this moment. I don't really check out the Roosters team much, but wouldn't it be exciting if they named Sandon Smith and Brendan Smith in the same game? Just for the commentary fun. Like, they got Sandon Smith named in their number 20 jersey. So I've wanted to see that for a long time. But, look, for me, I don't like Greg starting. I don't think he's done enough to earn that spot. I probably would have seen Murchie go there. I know he's come back from that, obviously, head gash, but I think Murchie did enough, obviously, when he was there. The other option was just to put Duru, who's probably deserves a starting spot in the second row, and they could have either started Madison or Hopgood at front row. There's not much difference between front row and lock these days. For me, Greg, I don't just think he's a cat because he's got a handbrake. I find him very lazy in the middle of the field defensively, and it just worries me seeing him start a field against, someone like Victor Radley or Lindsay Collins, Origin player, through that middle of the field there. Especially with Brendan Smith. We've seen what Brendan Smith's done to Parramatta before, obviously playing for Melbourne. And Greg, it just worries me having him start the middle of the game when the energy's high. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope he comes out and proves a point. But we've been waiting for Greg to evolve since he came down from the Cowboys. When he came down, he's a big, fat, angry man. We got him fitter, and he's turned into a bit of a cat. So it's his chance to turn up and prove to us that, he is a first-grade footballer and worthy of starting in the front row.
Troy, I'll go to you.
I think Adam's stolen a little bit more thunder there. I agree. Attack the Hutchinson Paulo side of the field. Pretty inexperienced side of the field.
I thought you agreed that Greg was a cat.
No, not at all. Not at all. I wouldn't want him running at me. But anyway, attack that side of the field because I just don't think that, Hutchinson's a centre, so he's more of a half. But we've seen he has played there in the past. But look, there's going to be a good battle between RCG and Jared Warrior-Hargraves, the battle of the hyphenated names. interesting that Wiremu Greg got the start. I probably would have went for Hickey Ogden just for that bit of size. A lot of people were saying Makatoa to start at front row, maybe because he had that most of that experience from last year. It's been 15 years since we've beaten the Roosters away too, so it's been a while. So records are meant to be broken, and we'll get that one done. But there's Hopgood versus Radley as well. That's going to be a good battle as well. So
Be state of origin battle, though.
There's one battle you haven't mentioned, I think, Troy. And we've mentioned why throughout the podcast too.
That's the Clint Gutherson James Tedesco battle.
No, that's the Suwali and Penasini battle. Two young centers but that they're best friends. We spoke about.
Yeah, but won't they be on the opposite sides of the field?
Will they? Oh, yes, they will.
So yeah, there might not be much of a might not be much of a battle there anyway. But you never know. They might cross fields and cross.
It can be a personal battle.
It could be.
We should make this podcast audio only.
And then, so I mean, obviously, James Tedesco.
My voice is delayed.
James Tedesco and Clint Gutherson. But one thing I will say is we saw it in the Manly game, and that was Olakuatu scoring a try over Wonga Blake's head. We're just got to be careful of Daniel Tupou as well out in that wing for that cross kick. He's pretty well known for he can jump and he can score tries that way.
Am I still in charge here, Adam?
All right, you are, mate. Because
all right, he's cool. All right, boys, let's get into our predictions and bold predictions for the round. Matt, we'll go to you first. Predictions.
Oh.
Have a crack, matey.
Have a crack. First go. All right, so I got Eels winning 26-12. My first try scorer is Mitch Moses. And my bold prediction is that the Eels will keep the Roosters scoreless in the second half.
Okay. All right, we like it. Should I go next or should Troy? I'll go next. I'll take one for the team here. I think it's be a tight game, and I think it will come down to goal kicking and be quite high scoring. I'll go Parramatta 22-20, so Parramatta by 2 there. My first try scorer is going to be Bailey Simonson because Wonga Blake doesn't pass the ball. Will Penasini does. So I reckon Will gets an early try assist. And you know what? It's not a bold prediction, but I reckon we'll score in the first 6 minutes of the game. I think we'll score quite early on. But my bold prediction is going to be that in each half, a fullback will score. So I reckon both Teddy and Gutho are going to score in the match, and I think one of them is going to be each half. So whether it be Gutho in the first half, Teddy in the second, or the other way around, in each half, a fullback from both teams is going to score. Troy, let's go to you.
Okay, so score. I'll go. It's going to be a fine night on Thursday. No rain predicted, so should be some fast, dry conditions. I think it'll be about 24-18, and I'm going to go a bit random here. I'm going to say Jermaine Hopgood first try scorer.
Ooh.
A bit random there, I know. I think it'll be one of those close 10-meter runs and
the show and go, I had him against Cronulla and he passed it.
Just getting that short ball off Joshy Hodgson, I think, maybe, and not so much a barge over try, but the defence will be looking for him to pass the ball, I think. So, but he'll show and go and score. Bold prediction. I think Matty said keep the Roosters scoreless in the second half. I think we'll get out to this is a little bit difficult, but I think we'll get out to a decent lead in the first half, and the Roosters will be come storming home, but we'll hold them out, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So we'll just blitz it in the first half, and then the Roosters won't be so much on, but then they'll come storming
like
back.
last year at Combank.
Yeah. But
When you
we'll
say,
hold on.
when just to clarify that, when you say that, do you mean that the Roosters will lead? So, say for example, do you think Parramatta will lead, say 12 or 14 to 4 at halftime, and then the Roosters run down the lead, but Parramatta win it?
Yeah. So majority of our points will be scored in the first half, and then majority of the Roosters' points will be scored in the second half.
Pretty close
But
to
we'll
my
hold
original bold prediction. My original bold prediction, which I was going to go with, was Parramatta to lead the game for more than 30 minutes, but pretty similar to that. Adam, let's go to you. We are delayed, guys. We do apologise.
Are you going to die? No,
It's like Adam's that.
all right, so my bold prediction. All right, I'll go bold prediction last. I'm going to go 26-18. I'm going to go Dillbag's first try scorer. And my bold prediction, I was actually going to go Dillbag's double, but I'm going to change it. My bold prediction is Brendan Hands to play more minutes than Josh Hodgson. Waiting for your reaction. 3, 2, 1, go.
Woohoo!
Well, I think in the next few weeks,
X-Factor player.
I was going to say, I think in the next few weeks that might actually come. That might actually come true, because I think just because he made his debut last week, he's not going to be on for more than Josh. And we did bring Josh to the club for a reason, but I think in the next few weeks, that role might sort of change a bit. But
yeah. Josh was brought to the club to help develop.
Yeah, it's obviously going to happen naturally, because obviously that was part of it. But I've just got a funny feeling, not a funny feeling, but I've got a feeling that Hodgson might cop a bit of a HIO saying this week. So that's why I've gone that bold prediction. So hopefully I'm still talking. I don't know if you guys can hear me or whatever.
Yeah, we can see you're normal now. You're normal. Everything's normal.
Yeah, you're not as bad as current affairs.
No, I'm normal.
Oh, no, hang on. No, you've got a bit fadey.
All right,
I'll see you talking and stuff.
I'll close this out.
You guys keep pausing on me as well. I'm still really intrigued to know who everyone's X-Factor player is, because I just don't know who everyone's X-Factor player was.
Will Penasini.
Hands.
I'll go Will Penasini as well.
Wonderful.
All right.
Well,
it put us out of this pattern.
It is our second away game of the season. Hopefully, you guys can get down there and support the Parramatta Eels on Thursday night, 8 a.m. Allianz Stadium. We're all tipping the boys to get the job done and break that record that Troy mentioned earlier. Hope everyone has a great night, and find us on Spotify. Whatever that pink thing is that Troy's got on the screen. He has got a barcode that you can screen. And on
that's for the Parra Cave podcast, and that's Apple and Spotify, where you can find the Talking Parra podcast, and subscribe to the Entertain House on YouTube, and also subscribe to M Tatey Sports TV as well on YouTube. And I don't believe our illustrious host has got anything to plug. So
thank you. Thank you, Troy. Have a great night, everyone.